For anyone who has been around for a while keeping up with Star Wars story, especially shows like the Clone Wars, your mileage may vary on how effective the Jedi Council is. The well-meaning Jedi become the Senate's lapdogs over time, often unintentionally aiding in their corruption. Despite their mastery of the Force, none of them could tell that Palpatine was Darth Sidious, and many of their own were turning to the dark side. Tales of the Jedi shines a light on the ignorance of the Jedi, and how their inflexible nature ultimately led to their doom. The anthology series is created by Dave Filoni, and fits perfectly into the existing Star Wars universe. For those familiar with the prequels, Count Dooku, voiced by Corey Burton in Tales of the Jedi, is nothing more than another villain. We don't learn much about him, and he feels like his purpose is to be the murderer that sends Anakin down a downward spiral. However, Tales of the Jedi adds to what some book readers might already know about Dooku's past. Not only was he the master of Qui-Gon Jinn, but his belief in prophecies influenced Qui-Gon to go to Tatooine in search of Anakin. In the episodes Justice, Choices, and the Sith Lord, we watch as Dooku slowly loses faith in a Jedi Council that refuses to listen to the instinct of its Jedi, instead clinging to rules at the risk of life and justice. Though there are shades of Dooku's dark side, he's not an inherently evil character initially. He sees injustice when corruption rewards senators and punishes the regular people. As a peacekeeper, he is conflicted by his duties when his desire to hunt down the truth clashes with the Jedi Council's orders. At one point in an episode, a character who has become disillusioned with the Jedi lays it out clearly for Dooku: Jedi are lapdogs of the Senate. Their bidding always comes first. It's evident throughout the galaxy. Jedi claim peace but mostly keep law and order for the rich and powerful. This statement, while not wholly accurate, is also not false. Many Jedi blindly follow the Council, which does the Senate's bidding. It's how Palpatine was able to manipulate the Jedi so easily. Led by hubris and even naivete, at one point, Dooku questions Mace Windu about whether their job as peacekeepers conflicts with what the Senate sometimes says is law. And Windu replies that they are guided by the Council, not by politics or ego. This blind acceptance without realizing that Republic politics are pulling the strings of every act the Jedi take is what eventually leads to the slaughter of all the Jedi. Dooku's story arc brings in Qui-Gon, who is shown to have a strong bond with his master, and Yaddle, a female from Yoda's species. Although we haven't learned much about Yaddle in the past, Tales of the Jedi gives the character a strong foundation and one that makes her honestly more insightful and wise than Yoda himself. Dooku's stories pack the most emotion behind them out of the two. Still, Ahsoka's episodes offer us a look into not only her origins but also another glimpse into her close relationship with Anakin. We meet Ahsoka when she's pretty young, having been brought to Anakin as his Padawan when she was 14 to teach the young Skywalker some responsibility. Unfortunately, Ahsoka and Anakin possess the same rebellious spirit, though it fosters a close bond between Master and Padawan. The story's life and death, practice makes perfect, and resolve illustrate her life before the Jedi, during her time with Anakin, and then after the fall. It's exciting to see Ahsoka's parents, Pavtai and Nakil, and the village where she might have grown up. With the Ahsoka series currently in production, I wonder if this will hint at us potentially returning to Ahsoka's roots since she is no longer a Jedi. Although Life and Death is a sweet story about Ahsoka's bond with the Force even as a toddler, its practice makes perfect and resolve that truly depict her strength as a Force user. While the trailers seem to emphasize a certain hardness or sinister nature to Anakin's training Ahsoka, it becomes evident that the Jedi is simply doing everything possible to make sure that, in the case of battle, she will come out of the other end alive. This training proves vital in her survival of Order 66 and reminds us that, at some point in his life, Anakin Skywalker was not only a good person but a thoughtful Jedi Knight. The fall of the Jedi reveals Ahsoka's reluctance to fight, having lost everything in the rise of the Empire. But when she must face off against an Inquisitor, the skilled Force user does not hesitate to show just how powerful she has become. While both stories are strong on their own, it's combined that we see the strength in Tales of the Jedi. This is not a show about the adventures of the illustrious Jedi, it's a cautionary and tragic tale. It touches on some of the best stories from the animated Star Wars shows like The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. This series never flinched away from criticizing the Jedi while revealing just how seductive the Sith can be when you are at your lowest point. Tales of the Jedi is a fitting entry into this catalog and continues to add layers of dimension to familiar and beloved characters. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.